Meeting regulations. During each regular meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity early on the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and/or directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak must, upon being recognized, rise, state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or the presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Please note the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of the privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discourages comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during this public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note that in accordance with the district policy, the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it's confirmed the matter has first been brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in an attempt to resolve the issue. Public be heard, agenda items only. Approval of minutes, December 13th, 2022, January 3rd, 2023. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motioned by Mr. Carr, seconded by Mr. Clavijo. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morell?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. There is no correspondence, so we'll move on to reports. Student council report, Mr. Dewar.
Hello everyone, it is great to be back presenting this report. I hope everyone had happy and safe holidays, and I would like to wish everyone a happy new year. Seeing as how it is 2023, I would like to acknowledge this year as the 90th anniversary of Hawthorne High School, established in 1933. Also, a quick congratulations to now Dr. Sprito. Without further delay, I would like to present January's Board of Education report. The class of 2023 is going to sell baked goods at the Speedball tournament in March as a fundraiser. The class of 23 is going to plan the senior trip shortly. Also, the deadline for senior ads for the yearbook is January 31st. The senior class cabinet is very involved and motivated to continue a successful year. The Creative Writing Club meets every Tuesday after school in the library. Students have been working on pieces to include in this year's period. We are going to start planning Poetry Day as well, which will take place May 24th. The Student Council has been very busy planning our events in February and March. We will be bringing back the annual blood drive on February 28th. After meeting with the general membership, Student Council will bring back the old high school dance, and we'll be hosting a spring semi-formal in the HHS gym. That will take place on March 3rd at 6:30 p.m. The winter sports season is in full swing. We'd like to wish our athletes continued luck and success in their upcoming games and competitions. The HHS Library began the new year with its Resolve to Read campaign. Students are challenged to read 1 book a month from now until June. Students who successfully complete the challenge will be invited to a June pizza party to celebrate and discuss their readings. This month, the Library Media Center's displays, books, and activities highlight 3 national events: National Human Trafficking Prevention Awareness Month, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and National News Literacy Week. For each theme, the library offers our faculty instructional materials and resources and engages students with library book displays and bulletin boards, informational materials, daily morning announcements, posted flyers, and social media postings. Ms. Havrick's Intro to Criminal Justice classes pitched in to help the library advertise the activities associated with the Human Trafficking Awareness Campaign by participating in our annual Locker Magnet Slam, posting 100 magnets around the school with messages of awareness from the NJ Coalition Against Human Trafficking. The library's new play space opened this month, allowing our students a place to independently enjoy hands-on activities such as sewing, 3D printing, arts and crafts, Legos, building blocks, and much more. The space is also home to our lunchtime video gamers who appreciate large wall-mounted monitors. Senior and book author Paul Dewar presented to students and staff after school last week in the Library Media Center. I don't like that guy. The focus of the presentation was about self-publishing and the writing process. A 4th national event promoted by the library 2023 Chinese New Year, the Year of the Rabbit. Thank you for listening to January's episode of Board of Education Reports. I hereby declare that my report has officially concluded upon proclamation of this year's historical quote, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." Abraham Lincoln. Thank you all, and I will see you at next month's Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Dewar. Dr. Sprida,
Thank you
Superintendent.
very much. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn it over to Dr. Trabona first, who will share testing presentation. I'm going to share that, and then I will get into my report.
Hi guys, I'm back.
public.
Sure.
Number one, you know, we as a district were one of the only, if not the only district to go on record and say that we thought that this would be a waste of our students' time. Again, Dr. Trebona's analysis too, this is very similar data to the NJSLA. You know, this is not reinventing the wheel. Number two, this was a product of COVID. This is produced by Pearson, if I'm not mistaken, who is also the publisher of the NJSLA. What's not being done is they're not changing the NJSLA to reflect what our students are currently able to do. And that's the part that really burns me. They're not the state is not changing anything on their end. The expectation is that we just figure out how to make it work. And you know, that's the part that Dr. Tribona, you know, is those takeaways. But it really is difficult because it's not just Hawthorne. This is a global problem. If you looked at anybody else's data, I am sure you would see similar trends. The state has no intentions of changing their curricular expectations or their standardized testing measures, and that to me is really problematic.
And one of the things, if I could just add to kind of piggyback off that is, and Dr. Morrell would know this, when you do your NJSLA data analysis, it gives you the comparison to the state.
Right.
With this, it's very difficult to find. They publish the state data, but they don't compare your district to the state because everybody is off.
Yes, and it's almost like they don't want you to know that, but you know, we know that there's no way around it. And as someone who tests for a living, you know, I could take anybody off the street, and I'm using a standard measure that was pre-COVID. They're going to be behind, special ed or not. So it's just frustrating to me, and I'm speaking for everyone, I'm sure. But I just want the public to know. I think when this first came out, in my mind, I was like, oh, they're going to adjust the test. They're going to adjust the test to where our students, they're not, there's no intention. And now it's so far out, they're clearly not going to do it. The state's not going to adjust their expectations for curricular standards. The test's not going to be adjusted. This problem is not going to go away. You know, I'm preaching to the choir, but for the people who are not in education, you know, I just want to make that disclaimer. The back end's not being changed. We are just being told to make it go away, the gap. It's frustrating. Thank you for all of your work. We're not alone. You know, there are many different districts represented in this room, and I can speak for you know, them and say that it's a global problem. Start Strong is unique to New Jersey, though, right? I don't know any. I mean, other states may, but it's not a
Other
standard.
states have a precursor test, but Start Strong in its name is a New Jersey
thing, because it goes with that Pearson NJSLA model. But anyway, it's frustrating. I wish they would renorm some of the standards. I mean, even, you know, DRA level, things like that. Like, let's just take a baseline. Where is everybody? But anyway, thank you, Dr. Tribona.
No problem.
It's frustrating. We appreciate all of your hard work. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm off my soapbox.
It's fine. Okay, just a few things to share. First of all, as always, I want to thank Paul for his report. I'd love to hear all the great things happening at the high school. I'm so glad you have an opportunity to be here to share those great things. Paul mentioned that it is the 90th anniversary of Hawthorne High School. This year is also the 125th anniversary of the borough, right? The borough's 125th anniversary. I had the pleasure of meeting with the mayor and his committee that's planning some of the events that will take place this year. I just want to mention that it was March 24th will be the anniversary celebration, the first one at Hawthorne High School in the auditorium. It was in the mayor's letter, in fact. So we're working with the borough on some of their events that they're planning. In fact, some of our high school students will hopefully be participating in the March 24th event. So again, I'm working with the mayor on that to incorporate the schools and our students into some of the events that will be coming up for the 125th anniversary year for Hawthorne. Also want to mention that Paul is serving numerous roles tonight. He's going to be our resident photographer tonight. We'll be taking the board picture after the meeting, so thank you, Paul, for doing that.
I don't get paid overtime.
No, we'll have to talk to Mr. Shaw about that. Okay. So a couple of things that I just want to share. First of all, again, as Paul mentioned, Happy New Year and welcome back. Great to be back. We're off to a great start in January. A lot of great things happening in all of our schools, look forward to sharing all the upcoming events that will be coming over the next few months. One important announcement that I want to make is about kindergarten registration. That information was shared through our parent notifications this past week. That process does take place electronically, online, so we just encourage everybody to go to our district website, and you can, there's a registration tab for kindergarten registration. That starts the process. Parents fill out that information online, and then you'll be contacted by the school for other paperwork that will be required. But the process begins on our website. The nice part about our student management system is once the information is completed on our website, it automatically feeds into our student management system. And again, then our administrative assistants in all of our schools will review that information and contact parents for additional information that is required for registration. So that is available, effective immediately. So we encourage anybody who has kindergartners to please begin that process as soon as possible. Paul mentioned our winter sports season is in full swing. A lot of great things. We're trying to share things on social media. Pay attention to our social media accounts. A lot of positive news about our athletic teams, our track teams, our boys and girls basketball teams, wrestling, so on and so forth. So just pay attention to that. We'll try to share as much as we can about our athletes and all the accomplishments that they have during the winter season, and we wish them success in the second half of that winter season. The other thing that we're required to do twice a year is share information from something called our Student Safety Data System, the SSDS report. So there's two reporting periods. There's one that we have to share numbers from the first half of the school year, September to December, and then at the end of the year we share the numbers from January to June. So for right now, I'd like to share the numbers from our SSDS reports for the fall of 2022. We had 8 total incidents, which included 1 incident of violence, 0 incidents of vandalism, 0 incidents of substance abuse, 0 incidents of weapons, and 7 confirmed HIVs. So which totals 8 total incidents from the first half of this school year. And again, typically in July or August, we'll do the end of the year report, which will be our numbers for the second half of the year, as well as some of the training and some of the programs that we have in place throughout the year. And the other thing I would like to share is actually in the agenda, and I'm actually going to read this. It's not really a resolution, just a recognition. So I'm going to read what's in the agenda. It says the New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January, each year in January, but this January 2023 to be School Board Recognition Month, a time when all residents can acknowledge the contributions made by our local school board members. The Hawthorne Board of Education is one of 581 local school boards in New Jersey, which sets policies and oversees operations for public school districts. The Hawthorne Board of Education embraces the goal of high-quality education for all New Jersey public school students. New Jersey's local school boards help determine the educational goals for approximately 1.4 million children in pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. New Jersey's 5,000 local school board members who receive no remuneration for their services act as advocates for public school students as they work with administrators, teachers, and parents for the betterment of public education. School boards strive to provide the resources necessary to meet the needs of all students, including those with special needs. Boards of education provide accountability to the public, they communicate the needs of the school district to the public, and they convey to school administrators the public's expectations for the schools. New Jersey can take pride in all of its schools, which rank among the nation's best in key achievement indicators such as National Assessment of Educational Progress scores and the preparation for college through advanced placement offerings and SAT assessments. Now therefore be it that the Hawthorne Board of Education does hereby recognize the services of local school board members throughout New Jersey as we join the community statewide in observing January 2023 as School Board Recognition Month. And that the Hawthorne Board of Education urges all New Jersey citizens to work with their local school boards of education and public school staffs toward the advancement of our children's education. I would also like to add that I would personally, on behalf of the district, like to thank all of our school board members here. As was mentioned, these are volunteer positions. They don't get paid for this. They put a lot of time and effort into doing what's best for the students in the Hawthorne Public Schools. So on behalf of everyone in the school district, I want to thank you for all the time that you put in to support our students and our staff in Hawthorne. And with that said, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. Negotiations, Mr. Palouse.
Thank you, Madam President. On the bottom of page 3, pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Negotiations recommends the following resolution. N1 on the bottom of page 3 carries over to the top of page 4. I'm just going to read through it real quick.
Sure.
Whereas the Hawthorne Board of Education, hereafter referred to as the Board of the and the Hawthorne Custodial Maintenance and Bus Driver Association, hereinafter referred to as the HCMB, have negotiated a successful collective negotiations agreement, hereafter referred to as the CNA, for the 2022-2023 school year through the 2026-2027 school years. Whereas the HCMB has, by majority vote of its membership, ratified the CNA. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby ratifies and approves the terms of the CNA for the 2022-2023 through the 2026-2027 school year, which is attached to this resolution and made part of hereof, and be it further resolved that the board hereby authorize the board president and the business administration board secretary to execute on behalf of the board the CNA by and between the board and the HCMB. A motion?
Second.
Motioned by Mr. Blue, seconded by Ms. Ehrentraut. Any discussions?
Just want to thank Mr. Palouse for taking on the chair. Out of all the things that the Board of Education members do, those that are non-conflicted, in addition, have to deal with negotiations, and that committee can be a little drawn out. So thank you for taking that.
Thank you, and thank you to all the other board members, as well as Ms. Ambrose and Dr. Sparito, for doing the best that we can do. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Ehrentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morell?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mrs. Goff?
Yes. Curriculum and instruction, Dr. Morel.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Curriculum and Instruction recommends the following resolutions. CI1 and CI2 on page 4, CI3 through CI11 on page 5, and CI12 on page 6. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Morel, seconded by Mr. Shortway. Any discussion? I do have a question, Mr. Sparito. CI8 for Franklin Lakes. Oh, it's a higher number than the original number. Woo! Okay. Is there obviously something specifics being offered in Franklin Lakes that we don't offer here?
It is an elementary ABA program, but according to Mrs. Pignatello, we just don't have the supports in place to deal with the needs of that particular student.
Okay. Thank you. It made me nervous when it was 30,000 less than it is now. Welcome. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Ehrentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morell?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Goff?
Yes. Personnel, Ms. Ehrentraut.
The following resolutions are pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools. On page 6, P1 through P6, page 7, P7 through P17, page 8, P18 through P23, page 9, P24, and P25. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Ehrentraut, seconded by Mr. Totaro. Any discussion?
I have a comment.
Sure.
I know our Director of Special Programs, Mr. Sarah, is here this evening, so welcome aboard, and again, welcome always to the new members that are joining. So we hope you have a good experience here in Hawthorne.
Thank you. I'm very excited, very excited. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Splito?
Yeah, I would also like to welcome Mr. Serra. Looking forward to working with you. I've heard great things from people unsolicited, actually, from some of your colleagues.
Only the good stuff's true.
No, I've heard some great things, and like I said, really looking forward to working with you. I do want to just recognize Mrs. Pignatello for her 7 years of service to the district. She's done an outstanding job as Director of Special Services. I wish her all the best. She will be missed for sure, but I want to thank her for all that she's done over the last 7 years. It's been a pleasure working with her. I also want to just acknowledge we were fortunate to find an interim, Mr. Tom Kraljic, who I met with this morning. Fitting someone to the last minute. But Mr. Kraljic, as I shared with the board, served as a Director of Special Services as well as a Director of Guidance for a couple of years in Ridgefield Park, and then served as an Assistant Superintendent for 9 years before retiring. He's excited to work with us. It'll be just for a short time, just for a couple of months while we wait for Mr. Serra to begin. But appreciate and look forward to working with Mr. Kraljic and really coordinating between Mrs. Pignatello and Mr. Kraljic and of course Mr. Serra. So just again excited to have us get started. So, welcome.
Welcome, Mr. Serra. It was impressive to hear you and meet you that first time, and I'm very excited that you'll be here with the Hawthorne family. It is certainly a very special place to work. And as someone who works in your line of work, your knowledge and gusto for the position is just going to be such a great asset here, so welcome.
Thank you.
And Mr. Doyle, I'm realizing now that I did include you in, that anything that has an asterisk, we don't do addendums anymore. Sorry, it's like 3 months late. But anything new is part of it. I know, it's just, I'm trying. Okay. Anybody new in the audience who hasn't heard us, we used to do the goldenrod addendum, but now we just put them on the regular agenda and they're marked with an asterisk. Okay. Roll call, please.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraub?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Mr. Clavijo, Finance and Administration.
Thank you, Madam President. Finance Administration, page 9, we have 2 donations. A, acceptance of a donation in the amount of $1,000 from Columbia Bank, Atlantic Stewardship Bank type program to be used for instructional purposes at the Hawthorne High School. B, acceptance of a donation in the amount of $40 from Kevin Bergen to be used to reduce AP serving high school students' negative lunch balance. Thank you to Columbia Bank, Atlantic Stewardship, and to Mr. Kevin Bergen for the donations. Action items. Pursuant to the recommendations of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Finance and Administration recommends the following resolutions: F1 through F4 on page 9, on page 10, F5 through 810, on page 11, 811 through 813. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Clavijo. Seconded by Mr. Palouse. You were smiling at me and shaking your head. So. Any discussion? You have to shake your head and smile at me, Joe. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraub?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Claims, Dr. Morrell.
In accordance with NJAC 6A:2:11B, C3, and C4, claim items CL1 on page 11, I have reviewed the January 23 bill list. Everything seems in order. So I would like to make a motion for the board to approve the bill list.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Morrell, seconded by Mr. Carr. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraub?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Totaro.
Thank you, Madam President. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Buildings and Grounds recommends the following resolutions. On page 11, BG1, page 12, BG2, page 13, BG3, continued on page 14, onto page 15, BG4 and BG5, and BG6 on page 16 on behalf of the committee. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Totaro, seconded by Mr. Polino. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraub?
Yes.
Dr. Morel?
Yes.
Mr. Kalous?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Policy, Dr. Morel.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Policy recommends the following resolutions. PO1 on page 16, on behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second. Let me have it.
Moved by Dr. Morel, seconded by Mr. Shortway. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraub?
Yes.
Dr. Morel?
Yes.
Mr. Kalous?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Committee and liaison reports. Legislative, Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Madam President. January 12th, the Senate Education Committee convened for the first time in 2023 to advance various measures related to pre-K through 12 education, including one that provides tutoring opportunities to students and is aimed at mitigating the effects of learning loss or interrupted learning as a result of COVID-19. The Assembly Financial Institutions and Insurance Committee also met and approved a bill that will help districts impacted by natural disaster fund facility repairs and construction. The Senate Education Committee approved the following: High Efficiency Accelerated Learning Grant, Bill S-3220, would require the New Jersey Department of Education to establish and administer a High Efficiency Accelerated Learning Grant program to provide high-impact tutoring opportunities to students throughout the state. Group Setting Info and IEPs, Bill S-3285, would require the individualized education plan for a student with a disability receiving special education services. In a group setting to include 1, the number of additional students in the same group, and 2, the number of teachers present during the provision of special education services in the group setting. Districts will be required to revise each IEP to include this information during the next scheduled review, and at each review thereafter. Non-resident enrollment of student athletes, Bill S-3349, will require that whenever a district enrolls a non-resident student in that district for the purpose of participation in school sport or other extracurricular activity, the Board of Education in the district must 1, approve the enrollment, and 2, charge the student tuition equal to the actual cost per pupil. Providing school meal info to parents, Bill S-530, would revise the type of information that must be sent to parents or guardians at the beginning of each school year regarding the district school meal programs. Under legislation signed in September, school districts are required to provide in paper or electronic format parents with school meal applications forms. S-530 would amend that requirement to specify the application must be provided as a hard copy. The bill would also add the districts must include a notice that an application to apply for school meal programs may be submitted at any time during the school year and is required to be submitted annually. Complying with federal nutrition standards, S-531, would require beginning in the 24-25 school year, public schools to comply with the nutrition standards for the National School Lunch Program and the Federal School Breakfast Program adopted by the United States Department of Agriculture in January 2012, or any more stringent nutrition standards. Online application for school meals, S-1222, would require the New Jersey Department of Agriculture, in consultation with the DOE, to develop an online school meal application. A district or nonprofit non-public school that currently offers an online school meals application would be required within 1 year of the bill being signed to switch to the NJDA's application. Schools that do not currently offer an online school meal application will be required to make every effort to implement the NJDA's application. Participating school that implements the NJDA's application would be required to continue to make paper applications available as well. CTE Scholar Awards, Bill A-1791 and S-3306, would require the NJDOE in consultation with the Department of Labor and the Workforce Development to establish a career and technical education scholar awards program. The program would annually recognize outstanding CTE students according to an application procedure and criteria set by the NJDOE. In addition to demonstrating high levels of achievement in their courses, awardees would have to complete a college-level course or work-based learning experience and participate in a career and technical education student organization or a community service project that demonstrates application of career and technical skills. The NJDOE would then post the names of recipients of the CTE Scholar Awards on its website and recognize recipients with a certificate, press announcement, and other recognition. The Assembly Financial Institutions and Insurance Committee has approved the Emergency Bonding Authority Bill S 1892-84501. This would create a streamlined process for school districts and certain municipalities to issue bonds to finance repairs to facilities and equipment damaged by natural disasters for which the state has declared a state of emergency. Specifically, Type 2 school districts without a board of school estimate may issue bonds without voter approval. In the case of Type 1 school districts and Type 2 school districts with a board of school estimate, such bonds may be issued by the Board of Education or the governing body of the municipality comprised within the district. The bonds may be issued without the approval of the Board of School Estimate or the adoption of municipal ordinance as applicable. The bill would authorize boards of education to approve the issuance of these bonds via a resolution that must contain certain information about the project enumerated in the bill. The resolution must be adopted in a public meeting by 2/3 of full membership. This legislation was introduced in response to severe damage to facilities at the Cresco Public School District caused by Hurricane Ike. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Mr. Clavijo, Finance and Administration and Passaic County School Boards Association.
Thanks again, Madam President. The Finance Committee met on the 17th. The items for discussion included the audit. The auditors are in the process of wrapping up. We also discussed the bid openings that you found on the agenda today. The bids came in, the lowest bid came in at $1,049,000. There is we had discussed in the past a grant, a New Jersey Clean Energy Grant Program that would cover part of the cost. With the bid coming in at the number that it came in at, it's going to cover 62% of that cost. There's also a possibility for getting an additional allocation of $108,000 from funding for emergent and capital maintenance needs. That does come in, that'll reduce that cost to the district. We also discussed the budget. The bulk of the conversation related around the actual budget. One of the items is the CARES ESSER funding. That's funding that we received as a result of COVID aid. These funds that we have gotten and the additional ones that we're anticipating receiving for the 2023-2024 year must be used by September 30th, 2024. There's really no expectation of continuing to receive those, right? Because it was just
I've not heard anything about additional funding for that.
Right, so it's tied into COVID, so that's probably, unless something changes, that's the last of that funding. Something that as a result of COVID, we have been able to, school districts have been able to maintain is a 4% surplus. The normal is 2%. We have to go back to only keeping that 2% going forward. Part of the large chunk of the budget is the health benefits. Health benefits were stable for at some point, but unfortunately health benefits have gone up. We have a bill for this year due to the change in enrollment that the staff members have. It's generated like $72,000 worth of a bill to the district. In addition to that, the increase is at a 15%, which more or less equates to about $1.2 million. Something to keep in mind is that the tax levy, the 2%, is $823,000. So just this one increment alone of $1.2 million is approximately $400,000 more than the 2% tax levy. It is also anticipated that in 2024, it's gonna go up by 15%. So that seems to be the new normal for the time being. Something else to keep in mind as far as that budget is tuition, PCTI tuition. We're currently paying for that tuition. We currently have 164 students that are going out to PCTI. The cost to the district for PCTI students is one of tuition and the other one is for buses. Total of 164 students for the 2022-2023 year which is the current year, between busing and tuition is $2,107,000. There's an anticipated 30 additional students are anticipated to be going to PCTI for the 2023-2024 school year. So when you factor in the tuition, which is $11,364 per student, plus the cost for an additional bus, which is probably what we're going to need, that additional cost is going to be $420,000. That gives us a grand total for PCTI education of $2,527,971. So now going back to the budget, right, that 2% for the tax levy is about $800,000. We have just with the health benefits $1.2 million increment. You also factor in an additional PCTI cost. So as you can see, the numbers, are not trending in our direction. We have had a good run as far as increments tax levy this last couple of years, but that definitely doesn't seem to be the norm. Ms. Ambrose is all over it. She has made us aware, and we're glad that we have somebody like her at the helm of our budget. And that concludes Finance and Administration. The next is Passaic County School Boards Association. For the benefit of refreshing the memory of us veterans and for the benefit of our newer school board members, just going to read to you what the Passaic County School Boards Association is about, and also for the benefit of the public. The membership of the Passaic County School Boards Association is made up of all 21 constituent school districts in the county. The goal of the Passaic County School Boards Association is to enhance the skills and knowledge of local Board of Education members throughout Passaic County. It serves as a forum for the exchange of information and ideas and as a catalyst to expedite and initiate action. The County School Boards Association meetings are opportunities for board members to receive professional development and up-to-date information on current education initiatives, legislation, and regulations affecting public schools. Unfortunately, their meeting for the month of January coincides with our meeting. They're actually meeting right at this point. They do have some openings if anybody's interested in submitting a nomination. They have openings for president, first vice president, secretary, and second vice president for legislation. The next meeting is going to take place on March 13th, 6 p.m. over at Clifton High School. The topic is going to be Unsung Heroes, in which they're going to recognize some high school seniors. Prior to COVID, we had a healthy participation with the organization. So I just want to encourage us to do our best to make 1 or 2 meetings. There's a lot of value add that comes from the meetings. They do have a meal that comes with the meeting. It doesn't cost us anything. With COVID, they provided a hybrid model, so you could tune in even if you're not present. Not sure if they're going to continue that, but at any rate, again, just want to encourage us to at least make 1 meeting or 2 meetings. At the very least, you get to network with fellow board members, and there's a lot that can come out of that. That concludes my reports.
Mr. Bucco. Unfortunately, the meeting was tonight, wasn't it?
Correct, yeah.
Madam President, can we comment now, or should I wait till general comments for follow-up on some of the things Mr. Clavillo mentioned? Alex, if I heard you correctly, so we have roughly 800,000 increase in revenue.
That's the 2%
Right.
tax levy.
Correct. And just 2 line items, the increase with PCTI students and health benefits, roughly $1.6 million cost. So we have to absorb into, and I think it's important that the public starts to understand what we're faced with. And the challenge that Ms. Ambrose is faced with is that there's a huge deficit. And then if you continue to work at a negative deficit, not just in Hawthorne, but throughout the state and throughout the county, when you're specifically talking about PCTI, it's really hard to sustain growth when we're actually going negative. So we may be faced with cutting rather than expanding programs that we have. I'm just stating what I believe to be facts. This is never an attack on PCTI. It's great education. It's a great program up there. But it's important that people continue to hear why we talk about it all the time. The state gives them money. 7 county commissioners agree to give them additional money, and they grow, and they attract more people from us. And then the county commissioners say, well, we've only taken $7 million out of the county budget for PCTI for the last, I don't know, 15 years, I'm guessing, don't quote me on that. So they sell it to you as, we're not raising your taxes, but they are. It's indirectly raising your taxes, and it's indirectly affecting public education throughout the county. Something has to be done. People have to be more aware of what's happening, because yes, county is not raising our taxes, but indirectly, they just raised us $400,000 roughly. So how can you sell that as we're not raising taxes? I know I get on my soapbox every once in a while, but I think it's important that people continue to realize that things have to change. PCTI has to help out a little bit, the county has to help out a little bit, and if people want to continue to go to PCTI, great, that's your prerogative, but it doesn't only affect your high school students. So we are sending students throughout the county to a high school, in the entire district, from kindergarten all the way up through K, through 12, are potentially suffering. So again, I just wanted to kind of make those points, that we can't keep running a negative when the big brother on the hill continues to get, unlimited funds, basically, as far as I'm concerned. We have to have them cut back a little bit on excess so that we can just survive, let alone, grow and offer our students, better opportunities. So at this point, I think it's more or less just trying to survive and float and continue to offer a positive education here in Hawthorne and throughout the county. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Madam President, just to add an addendum to that, if I may, for the public to know, while we and typical school districts are limited to a 2% cap, the vocational school is not. That's what we're talking about, unlimited growth.
And that's one of like 50 things.
I'm just keeping it short.
Vocational
I'll get on the
schools have a
soapbox
different
too.
set of rules.
I'll just, one last item to the chair. I agree with what Mr. Kalu said. No one is speaking negatively about the school itself. We understand that there are programs here that benefit students throughout our county, including students here in Hawthorne. We are more concerned about the way it's funded. And I can tell you, just from a perspective of superintendents in the county, the Passaic County Superintendent Association has been meeting with the county commissioners, the county administrator, the superintendent, business administrator, and board president from PCTVS, from Passaic County Technical Vocational School. We've had numerous meetings already. We have another meeting with the county administrator on February 1st. And the purpose of those meetings is just to talk about the funding, of how it is funded. Our position is that we would like to see them reduce the cost to the local districts and incur some of that cost either from the county budget or from the Passaic County Tech budget. And that's really what we've been pushing, and we're continuing to push that narrative. Again, we're not speaking negatively about the school, we're just talking about the way it is funded. We feel that Passaic County being the highest, per pupil cost in the state, throughout any county, we just feel that there's a way that they can reduce our costs and still provide the programs and services that they're providing to their students at the school. So something that we're pushing, and we're continuing to meet with them, and as a group, the superintendent group, and we'll continue to do so.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure, please.
And while I don't think that the current administration has had that conversation, in years past, the district approached PCTVHS. I may have not said it correctly.
PCTVS.
Okay, PCTVS, to do a shared agreement where we would offer core classes, and then they would get more of the technical. It was immediately shut down. So we would, there are, again, we understand the importance of that outlet for certain students. We are not taking that away. We would like to work with them, and we would like that to be reciprocated with us so that we can serve all of our students. Like Mr. Kalu says, it does affect everyone down through the pre-K even. But thank you for your comments. Ms. Erin Trout, Council Liaison.
Thank you, President. On January 4th, the Borough of Hawthorne held a reorganization meeting where Frank Matthews was selected president and Raina Leosa was selected vice president. In addition, at that meeting, Mayor Lane encourages residents to sign up on the website for the Pixel announcements. On January 18th, at the council meeting, Mayor Lane and our council honored 2 longtime volunteers, and I know that we always talk about the importance of community here in Hawthorne, so I think it was important to mention Ken Silvestri for 71 years as Company 3, a volunteer firefighter, and Mark Vainema for 50 years of EMS service. As Dr. Sprito mentioned, this year the Hawthorne Borough is celebrating our 125th anniversary or birthday, whatever we want to call it. And many events, like Dr. Sprito mentioned, are planned. The kickoff one is at Hawthorne High School on March 24th at 7 p.m. Some exciting news, the Hawthorne Library has obtained the technology to scan and digitalize past editions of the Hawthorne Press and Hawthorne High School yearbooks. So I know that that was a conversation I think I had with Mrs. DiGeronimo over the years, and that's really exciting. I will keep everyone up to date when it's actually in the database and searchable. And the next meeting, the next council meeting will be Wednesday, February 1st. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Arentrell. As far as New Jersey School Boards Association goes, I have spoken very limitedly with Kathy Helloa from school boards about doing a HIB review. Dr. Morrell had brought to our attention that we really hadn't done that in I guess, her tenure on the board. I reached out to her, she laid out the process. I'll work with Dr. Sprito, we'll find a meeting. It will be virtual, she mentioned. It would be live, but virtual. So we would do that at a future meeting, and we just get our role in the HIB process. So I think that's important to review, so I'll nail down a date with Dr. Sprito and then let you guys know. It would just be part of our regular meeting. If you haven't read, I believe it was the January 11th, weekly we get an NJSBA email now. There was a very interesting article about keeping boards nonpartisan, something that I know was something that had been brought up several times, and it came from New Jersey School Boards. If you haven't read it, go back to that one. And last, please fill out your financial disclosure statements. We are required to do that annually. It does not matter what term you are in. I believe Ms. Gay sent them all to us this past week. And please fill them out at your earliest convenience. They're very brief. I haven't filled mine out yet, but last year I know that if you didn't put NA, it kicked it back to you. So I'm assuming that will be the case again.
It was corrected.
It was corrected. Okay, so you don't have to put NA.
There's a box, yeah.
Oh.
It's much easier.
I mean, when I tell you this thing got kicked back 3 times to me last year, I felt like it wasn't good. Okay, so that was corrected. Good. And that is all for NJSBA. Oh, there are 2, unfortunately they're both during the day. Tomorrow there is a legislative update, Mr. Carr, in the event that you're free at 11 a.m. It's a webinar. And also, I just have to put a little airbot in, and then overcoming purchasing hurdles is Thursday the 26th at 1 p.m. Again, the webinars if anybody has. There is a finance, some sort of a finance event, conference taking place, I believe, here it says on March 1st. If anybody from the Finance Committee is interested, it's 10 to 4. It's actually in person, which makes it a little more difficult, but some people think that it's more interesting.
Virtually as well.
Oh, it is virtual as well. Okay. It's in Princeton Junction, New Jersey. If anyone's interested in that, you get 3 board member credits. Okay. Dr. Morrell, policy.
Madam President, Policy Committee did not meet this month.
Okay. Mr. Palouse, have CPAC, PTOs.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a few things. The Ed Foundation successfully had their Mozzarella Nights on January 12th, 13th, and 19th. It's a huge success. We had 92 guests in attendance, which equaled a total of 184 pounds of fresh mozzarella cheese. F also had their 50-50. Congratulations to Leslie Dewhurst, who took home $1,500. We thank everyone who supported the 50-50, as well as the Mozzarella Night. Our next event will be the 3rd Annual Food Truck Festival on Sunday, May 21st, which will be held at Manfred Ave at the Hawthorne High School. Details will be forthcoming. Again, that's May 21st. Roosevelt School PTO is hosting a parent-teacher volleyball game this Friday night, January 27th at 7 p.m. If anybody wants to attend, it's $2 for adults and $1 for children, and all the proceeds will go to the PTO. Jefferson School, I just want to follow up. They had a follow-up on their Facebook page. Their Thanksgiving food drive, they collected 312 pounds of food for the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, along with monetary donations. They were able to provide over 4,000 meals for neighbors in need this year. I'd like to congratulate everyone who participated with the Jefferson School PTO. That's an awesome event. Thank you. And over to CPAC, tomorrow evening, January 25th, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., there will be 2 guest speakers. The event is held virtually. Catherine Willits, licensed clinical social worker, certified school social worker, certified in advanced assessment and diagnosis, will host ADHD 5-minute ADHD 5-minute parenting strategies to grow your child's skills and self-confidence. And the second one will be Jackie Waldman, a certified ADHD executive function coach and retired school teacher, who will present on de-stressed to de-stressed, this workshop for overwhelmed parents. That's de-stressed to de-stressed. Calming event. So, as a special needs parent, I have to jump in on that one and see if I can learn anything. To register, just go to the Hawthorne NJ CPAC Facebook page and register to attend. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palouse. I'm sorry, I should have just lumped in CNI.
Oh, that's okay.
Dr. Morrell, back to you for CNI.
Sure. We had the high school principal join the committee and shared some exciting things that are coming to Hawthorne High School. Just a reminder to the board, we currently have a work-based learning experiences for our students as part of a collaboration with Bergen County. Bergen County Special Services, was it? Right? But it is available to all of our students. It's not necessarily a special education program. So that is already currently being offered. However, what we're looking to do, the high school principal is looking to do, is to expand work-based learning opportunities for high school students. And the information is going to be presented to our 11th graders soon. And we're really excited about this. There is going to be a Hawthorne High School staff member who's identified as the work-based learning coordinator, who will help to facilitate these work-based learning opportunities for the students. There are credits connected to these work-based learning opportunities, as well as an academic writing component. So think of it as a senior, they can come in during the day to take their required courses like language arts and PE and health, and in lieu of taking other perhaps electives, they can go out into work-based environments that may or may not be in Hawthorne, but those are extended learning experiences for those students, so we're excited about that to occur. The other thing that was shared with us there are a total about new courses that are being offered for next school year. We continue to expand our AP course offerings. There will be an English 10 Honors AP seminar. The currently computer publications and technology. For those of you who went through Hawthorne High School, you would know that that's like the yearbook class. That's how it's colloquially known. It was currently only being offered to 12th graders. It is now going to be available to students 10 through 12. We have a new course that I'm especially excited about, the exploration of careers in the trades. While this course is available for all students in grades 9 through 12, priority will be given to our seniors. The high school has purchased kits for different trades for students to explore, and I don't mean to put her on the spot, but I'm going to, sorry. Dr. Trebona, can you share a little bit of what the specific trades that our students are going to be exposed to?
Yeah, so in this course, it's all kit-based and hands-on based. They're going to look at carpentry, they're going to look at auto body repair, they're going to look at the different trades within carpentry. and construction, small engine repair, and electricity. So we'll be broken into modules. They'll get a taste of everything, and what we're hoping with for our seniors, those who are in this can then mirror that in the morning with some of the work-based learning, off-site work in the afternoon. And after year one, we're looking to expand it into either a whole small engine repair course, but they do provide you with everything you know with the kits that we are purchased and trained from.
Thank you, Dr. Triple.
You're welcome.
We also have some additional courses called Behind Broadway, Songwriting, and Rock Band. And some of these courses are also looking to build upon what is, I know, I know. Those courses, of course, again, are looking to build upon courses that students will be exposed to at the middle school. We also discussed the addition of the option 2 PE program, so that's an opportunity, again, so the state of New Jersey allows district boards of education to provide alternative learning experiences that students may be engaged in to receive high school course credit. So for us, one of those would be a physical education. We may have students who participate in elite level sports activities outside of school or even during the school day where they can get credit for that. There's of course academic and other components to that, but then this also allows them to free up their schedule to take other courses in lieu of taking PE because they're getting it credit from other way. The other thing is there are just some changes that are possibly being made, I think that the high school is looking at regarding GPA and class rank to be sure that we're not inadvertently negatively affecting our students. So in their transcripts, we currently provide the class rank for a student. So think, for example, you're the 45th out of 150 students. We feel that instead of doing that, that it would be better to just say whether they're in the 10% or 20% of their class. The other thing that is being changed for next year is how our grading scale is, in the high school is a numerical grade. But the numerical grades do not always necessarily correlate directly with the GPA 4.0 scale, specifically the breakdown. So for example, an A for us could be anyone from between a 93 through 97, but an A plus is actually between a specific grade, and that's a 4.0, whereas a person who's an A, and there was a concern that perhaps the colleges wouldn't do their due diligence to actually calculate that GPA out for a student. So again, in efforts for us not to inadvertently affect our students as they're looking for their post-secondary careers. And we are continuing to see, in addition, other costs. I think that was mentioned before. The things that we need to be aware of is that we're also seeing an increase in the number of multi-language learners in our schools, and that we need to provide them with English language services. And then the last piece is the robotics team sponsorship. We have a robotics team, and Dr. Gordon, the president of Passaic County Community College, would like for us to enter, and he would sponsor us. So we're excited for that opportunity and the fact that he wanted to sponsor Hawthorne High School Robotics. That concludes the Curriculum Instruction Committee report.
Thank you, Dr. Morales, so exciting. Mr. Totaro, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you, Madam President. The Buildings and Grounds Committee met on January 17th. The following items were discussed at the meeting regarding referendum maintenance updates. Regarding the referendum updates with the fire alarm at Jefferson, the work is installed, programmed, and troubleshooting has been completed. Now we're just pending testing and inspections. At Washington, it is in progress and in process, and we are just troubleshooting a few things to finalize everything over there. At the middle school, should now have the speaker strobes installed, and were anticipated to be completed by this past Friday. At the high school in Roosevelt, we are still waiting for the next shipment of speaker strobes, as well as some of the panel parts to finish up at the high school. In regards to the door project, the painter worked at Washington and completed the work there as of this past Friday. And over at Jefferson, the painter started, I believe, yesterday, and will be ongoing. In regards to maintenance updates, high school gym floor, Matthew Set came out to repair the game lines and fix peeling of polyurethane on December 29th. Additional repairs are needed to ensure the completion at a later date, most likely over the summer, due to some resanding and repainting that's required of the lines. The ongoing auditorium, right? It's amazing. In regards to the second floor bathroom, the repairs to second floor bathroom includes replacing broken fixtures, cracked toilets, and masonry repairs to the wall. The bathroom also has a crack in the waistline. And at Roosevelt, roof repairs, repairs to the old part of the Roosevelt roof includes repairing of concrete joints and spray urethane sealant and drain repair. As with the high school, the funds for these repairs will come from our maintenance reserve. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Totaro. Public be heard. At this time, members of the public may ask any questions or make comments on educational issues or school matters and are asked to keep them to 5 minutes in length.
Hi, Toby Murphy, Frederick Avenue. I know Mr. Carrillo mentioned before about some of the concerns with the finances of the district. And I was just curious about some of the positions that have been hired over the past years with ESSER funding. And when the ESSER funding runs out, how those positions will either be funded or accommodated for.
That's a good question. And an ongoing discussion.
Yeah, I'll just share that we have added some positions, as you mentioned, including guidance positions, our West Bergen partnership. There definitely are some things that we've added, our OG, BSI teachers as well. So there are things that we've added through that ESSER funding. Some of them were intended to be temporary to support learning loss over the last couple of years. And our goal was to use that ESSER funding to support those students, to try to get them back to grade level, and then wean those services off. So that some of those things were intended to be temporary. Some of the others, like our guidance counselors, some of the additional guidance counselors, the West Bergen partnership, our goal is to try to build that into our operating budget. Obviously, as Mr. Clavijo mentioned, that becomes very difficult when you're seeing increase like 15% in health benefits and significant increase in costs at PCTI. But the goal is to try to incorporate or weave some of those into our operating budget over the next few years. Obviously, we can't do it all in 1 year, right? So our goal is this year, maybe try to build in 1 or 2 of those guidance counselors and then do the same in the following years. And, I can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but we're going to do our best to make it happen.
I can tell you that the team has been really good at seeing this moment coming from probably around this time last year. That was when we got news, well, we didn't get more money, so we projected that it would be fizzling out. So it became a hierarchy of need. They talked to the admin team. It really becomes what we think is being used the best, the administrators. So it's been on the radar, right? But it's tough to see any of those people go. But
Okay, thank you.
any other public comment? Questions? General comments and questions from the board related to the school district? I'll start with you, Mr. Palouse.
No, thank you.
You look like you were really into reading something, so I thought perhaps.
No, I just want to make a couple quick comments. Mr. Sarah, welcome aboard. I had many experiences with Ms. Pignatello. I think she did a great job for the district. We're going to miss her, and I know personally, I'm going to miss her. So that's all. Thank you for your time and welcome.
Thank you.
Again, welcome, Mr. Sarah. And I don't really have any.
Sure, you don't have to say.
It's good.
I'll continue to say welcome aboard. I'll also say I cannot confirm or deny that I may have gained 2 pounds from the mud tonight. But it was actually a really, really good time, and it was great to do, and I'm glad we were able to raise some funds along with that. So thank you.
Likewise, welcome, Mr. Sarah. Toby, that was a great question as far as the positions. Thank you for asking it. And congratulations to our new doctor.
Yes. That's right.
Mr. Drew?
Point of recognition, I just want to acknowledge our athletic trainer, Bailey Wyrostek, if I'm pronouncing that.
Tough last name.
I think I nailed it though.
Ms. W.
We recently had a athlete suffer a pretty serious injury at, I believe, in a wrestling match. And she sprung right into action and provided the necessary medical attention until ALS, BLS, ambulance, and EMTs could get there on scene. It was an unusually long period of time before they could get there, so she really had to work much harder. I can tell you the parents of that individual were extremely happy with the services that were provided. And they weren't from this district either. They were from another district. And they expressed their gratitude in writing to the district and on behalf of Bailey. So it's nice to see that, and it's nice to see that we have such a capable athletic tribe.
Mr. Shortway?
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well. I was at the Passaic County wrestling tournament, and yeah, hats off to Bailey. She did a great job. And welcome.
Mrs. Pignatello, thank you for your years of service to the district. Welcome, Mr. Sarah, and congratulations, Doctor.
Ditto.
A lot of doctors around here.
Yes, we are becoming outnumbered.
Don't forget Dr. Doyle. MD. They were my initials, medical doctor.
That is true. Yes, congratulations, Dr. Sprito. It's going to take me a little bit to catch up to it. We know how hard you worked to get to. I'm sure it feels even longer for you going through it, but we're very proud of your accomplishments. And I'm sure that you had a lot of new doctor things made, a new name tag. Not yet. We'll stick with it.
His Twitter's updated.
My
Oh,
Twitter's
it's already,
updated.
it's on here.
My
It's all
Twitter's
over here.
updated,
Congratulations. New business and old business, we'll do in one swoop. If you just want to mention which one it is that okay with you? Okay. And we'll start at this end. Any new or old business?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
A third no.
I have nothing.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Good.
Ditto.
I also have no new or old business. So, please be it resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education convenes an executive session to discuss exempt matters pertaining to both legal and personnel matters. Be it further resolved that it is anticipated the executive session will be for 45 minutes in duration, and the public action may or may not be taken. Be it further resolved that the minutes of the executive session will be made available upon a determination by the board that the disclosure of the minutes will not detrimentally affect any right or interest of the board, and the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Motion to go into private session.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Carr, seconded by Mr. Palouse. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Clavija?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraub?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shortway?
Yeah.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.